Okay, we're back with part 2 of all of the piping hot tea that Georgia spilled on the Vile Files podcast. The episode is 2 hours long. I listened to it, so you don't have to, so let's get into it. Okay, so the day of the podcast, Dom tells Georgia that he's going to go hang out with Inez, but it actually doesn't happen. Georgia thinks this was Dom trying to make her jealous. Georgia says that their relationship ended the day after the podcast and it had absolutely nothing to do with Harry. She also says that Dom is really good at portraying himself as a victim and claiming that everyone is doing him wrong and coming off as really, really sweet and endearing. So let's talk about, in Francesca's own words, the likable villain of the show. Georgia confirmed that Francesca was actually dating someone throughout the entirety of the show. His name is Jesse, and they celebrated 1 year 3 months after the show finished filming. And Georgia says that she knows this because Francesca told them all during dinner. Despite Francesca actually encouraging that Georgia go and match with Dom, Georgia says that Francesca actually did not speak to her for 3 days after she matched with Dom. She also believes that Francesca tried to set her up by telling her that she would unmic her and that they would be in a room without any cameras, and tried to kind of get Georgia to admit that she didn't have actual feelings for Dom. However, Georgia was aware that there were cameras in the room and mics in the room, so Francesca totally lied about that setup. She says that Francesca had a really, really heavy hand in the production and the storyline of the show, and she says that anyone on the cast can admit to it. However, she says that she thinks people are scared to speak up about it because of Francesca coming for them. Because of the heavy hand that Francesca had on the show when it comes to like production and storytelling, she was able to get away with doing some really crazy stuff. She would have Dom out of the house for like 5-6 hours at a time, reshooting earlier scenes. So mind you, this is after they had already unmatched, after she was already with Damien. She was having Dom leave the house to reshoot like their very first dates and stuff like that. Georgia thinks that this is because Francesca regretted sort of letting Dom go and maybe still had feelings for him. She made it a point to also mention that Dom felt extremely uncomfortable with having to reshoot these scenes with her. Georgia says that Damien admitted to Georgia that he had feelings for her and actually told Francesca that he had feelings for Georgia, and that this made Francesca extremely upset. Georgia says she felt bullied, she felt alone, she felt like people were ganging up on her at the house. And she did go as far as to say that Carousel apologized to her for things that Francesca was putting Carousel up to that made Carousel feel like she was bullying Georgia. Georgia also told us that Francesca got paid the most out of everybody on the show. About the prize money text messages, Georgia says that she was only looking out for Dom, and that had he said he didn't want any more money from Netflix, she would have left it at that, but that he did actually respond and say that he would be happy to ask for more money with her. However, according to her, those responses from Dom were conveniently left out of what he showed us. Georgia says the hate has left her not being able to eat, not being able to sleep, not being able to like go out. She says that she's in love and she's happy, and it's been over a year since this happened and people need to move on. Georgia wishes Dom well and says that if she saw him in person right now, she would hug him. What do we think, y'all? Whose side are you on?